Blake's Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. Hate less, read comics. It's Blake's Buzz Live.
Buzz, buzz, babies.
Buzz, buzz, babies. It's Monday, and I'm pretty sure most of you are off work now, and hopefully you're tuning in because I got a really cool show and a couple really cool guests. But first, as you know, I got to shout out our sponsor. Yet again, it is Crossover Division, the current Kickstarter run by my home dog, Will Allred. Crossover Division, Volume 1, the hardcover is dropping. He's at 87%. He's getting there, but there's only 4 days left. So please check out this campaign and help it out if you can. It's, you know, he does a show every week, guys, where he does Kickstarters and shouts out Kickstarters and helps them find a new audience. He lives and breathes Kickstarter and helps these indie creators, and he needs some help right now. So I really encourage you to check this out. It's a very cool campaign, gorgeous artwork. The hardcover he's designed is absolutely gorgeous. Great back matter, oversized, nice weighty pages. This is the dust jacket I'm showing right now. It's going to look great on the shelf. And just real quick, I'm just going to put my movie theatric voice on, read you guys the trailer, and then we'll hit the ground running. When stories come to life and threaten to fracture reality beyond repair, only an English professor and research librarian have the knowledge and smarts to save us all. Join Hank Wallace and Hector Ramirez in Crossover Division Volume 1, Fictions and Other Truths, as they encounter War of the Worlds, Dracula, and Shakespearean tragedy in a small Midwestern town. This limited edition oversized hardcover collects Crossover Division's issues 1 through 4. This is a very, very cool campaign. I really hope you guys check it out. Will is a big English nerd, and it's not only a celebration of comic books, but just a celebration of awesome literature. And it does need some love. Only 4 days left. Let's get this baby funded so he can quit stressing. I don't think he slept for a month. He needs a nap. Like let's help him out. And now the show can begin, ladies and gentlemen. I've got a couple really, really awesome guests. One of them I've interviewed before on another podcast. Another one is just a fucking rock star that I can't believe I'm about to talk to. Brockton McKinney and Mr. Robert Venditti are in the house on Blake's Buzz Live. Gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
Doing great, thank you.
You're good, man. Thanks for having us on Blake's Weenie Oli Hour. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. The Weenie Oli is my co-host Cole is gonna get such a kick that you said that. Oh my god, we have been making everybody. We're in all these discords together, and we keep posting Weenie Oli memes and stuff. And the people in the discords are like, "Shut up, guys!"
Is it a real thing? Like, do people really eat it? Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a picture of it online, so it must be.
It's a hot dog with raviolis on it.
Yeah, it's a hot dog with Chef Boyardee. Well, so a hot dog, a piece of American cheese, and then Chef Boyardee raviolis.
Yeah, it sounds awful. I have to be honest. It sounds terrible.
I want to upgrade. I like to cook, right? So I'm thinking. I think next week we're gonna like make them and eat them for the show. And so I want to do like a hot dog bun garlic bread, right? And then use provolone and mozzarella instead of a hot dog. Gonna do a nice Italian sausage, right? And then get some V's nice raviolis and V's sauce, and it's basically gonna turn it into a meatball sandwich grinder, basically. But
well, here's what I would tell you as somebody whose grandmother's been making homemade ravioli since before I could, remember. I've seen the process. I know how it's done. If I was going to make a weenioli, I would make a giant size ravioli and put the hot dog in it.
Oh, just put everything in it?
Pig in a blanket situation, which is totally doable if you're making your own ravioli. You can make a ravioli hot dog size, no problem.
Yeah.
That's how I do it, but
maybe if you're not doing anything next week, Rob, maybe you need to have you on have the Weenie Oli cook-off.
Got him in a chef's hat and everything.
Yeah.
Working. Yeah.
Talk about bad ideas. Come back on Blake and Cole read a book and on for Weenie Oli Hour. Speaking of, I know we're here to talk about Savage Squad 6, but speaking of Bad Idea, you guys are both very involved with Bad Idea. I recently had Dinesh and Adam on, and they told me that Robert is cooking up something special, and Dinesh says it's one of the best things you've ever written. I know you probably can't announce it right now, but man, I've read a lot of your stuff, Robert. My first interaction with you was when I found Valiant and got into your Exo Man of War run, and it was brilliant. And I was like, who the fuck is this Robert guy? And since then you've done all this. But you just keep escalating, man. You keep leveling up. Your Hawkman run, I just recently busted through. It was like 29 issues. I read it in like an afternoon. I read it over like a week, but it just was so easy to read.
It felt like an afternoon because it just dragged the pacing.
It was so easy to read.
Yeah, because it's easy. It's easy to read.
Yeah.
I'm a master of pacing and tension and great action, and those first 12 issues with Hitch too on the art, man. It was a great time. And Brock, Mr. Brock. So
wait. So I can tell you what he's doing. The bad idea thing. I can.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, actually, no.
I can't. I'm under an NDA. I can't say that.
Well,
yeah,
I mean, Dinesh said I could pester you.
I just accidentally overheard, so I can like spoil it right now. I'm just kidding. I can't do that.
But yeah, so when I met Brock, his co-writer Dave Dwanch actually reached out on Twitter to me and was like, hey, like we're doing this Jenny Zero and it's like really close to our heart and we're trying to do some shows and we'd love to come on your podcast. And that's how I met Brock and Dave. And like since then I've just been obsessed with Jenny.
Is that Beezer back there?
That's Beezer.
There's the Beezer right there.
There it is.
Beez, what you doing? Come on, Beez, get in your bed. Get in your bed.
How you doing, Beez?
She's doing good. She's a little anxious tonight. Sweet baby.
But yeah, it's recently you just had the trade of Volume 2 come out, and it was funny because I picked up one, and lo and behold, on the back there's a Blake's Buzz pull quote, and no one fucking told me that I had a pull quote on a Dark Horse trade, which for a reviewer podcast that's a pretty big deal to be on the back of a Dark Horse book. I was pretty stoked.
It is huge, and it's honestly intentional. Like we could have told you, but we thought it would be way cooler if you saw the book and it was on there.
And then you get to judge me too, because if you don't ever hear from me, you're like, that fucker didn't buy the comics.
Mother, he never even saw it. Yeah, that was our barometer to see if you were still picking up the trades. No, they were going through them all, and they picked it. We didn't pick it.
Oh,
nice. Like, what do you think about this one? And we were like, wow, yeah, that's perfect, you know. But we were like, let's hang loose, man. It's cooler to see it when you actually see it, to be on there or whatever. But they just liked it that much. People listen to your show, man.
Dark Horse does like me, oddly. Like they because they're one of the few reviewers that like when you write a review or do stuff, they like you to email them like links to shows and stuff. And so like I've written a couple reviews for them on the Substack and done we've done like some videos on Blake and Cole read a book, and so they know me, and like even today I tried to pull I tried to see how much sway I had at Dark Horse, right? And I sent an email to see if I could get Tinian or Tinian, probably because I can't say his name right. They told me no, but they're like Blake, he's traveling, we can get the co-writer on. I was like, hey, do it, boom, let's go. Anyway, but I love Dark Horse, and the reason why I love Dark Horse is because they're making killer books right now, and one of those killer books literally is about to come out. And that's Savage Squad 6 that you guys are co-writing together. It is so exciting, so bloody. Dalt's artwork and the color, Geraldo's colors, like everything just it pops magnificently. It's so beautiful and vibrant and weird. And I got some cool Predator kind of vibes coming from it, right? Like we got this squad in the woods, and you know, there's this thing and lots of, you know, everybody's got big guns, but like the guns aren't really helping anybody, right? We got guns, grenades, plastic, everything you could need in a squad, but they're getting picked off. And not only that, you guys have made this really happy futuristic existence for everybody where, you know, this new world war has rendered society useless, and the remnants of society are getting picked off by these mercenaries, basically. Just like real happy times, you know, like the way we want our futures to be. I'm so impressed with this first issue. I'm so excited to talk about it. But what made you guys like come together? Because I remember when Brock told me about how they did Jenny Zero, like him and Dave were drunk at a con and they were like acting out kaiju battles like outside this con, right? So like, what weird fucking story do you guys have about how this dream team came together?
Yes, I'm going to be honest with you. Brock told me I was his first co-writer. So I didn't even know any of this.
Blake!
And the way we met.
Off to a great start.
So, I mean, I don't know, Brock, what don't you say? You know what I mean?
So we got sat together at a Comic-Con, and they put us side by side, and I'm not exactly sure why. It might have even just been arbitrary.
Yeah, I think it was just luck. Yeah,
just luck. We're sitting beside each other, and we just hit it off. We're both talking. We're having a great time, and after that, we just became friends. And we'd see each other at shows, and we'd hang out and have a couple beers and stuff, and just talking back and forth. And then one day, Rob texted me, and he said, I can't go through the whole text, but it's basically just one sentence. Like, what do you think about? And it was a title. He's like, da da da. And I don't want to spoil the book because it's very spoilery. And he said, and I was like, that's amazing. I was like, yeah, what do you think about this? And he was like, I like it. Like, what do you think about this? And we just started going back and forth. And that ended up to where we spent a week. I drove up to see him. It was our first time really like actually hanging out, especially sober. And we worked for like seven days, like, and just started working on this story and creating this stuff.
Crazy what can happen in 7 days, right? Earth gets created.
Savage Squad 6 gets created.
Yeah.
And on the final day, they said, let there be blood.
A couple things I will say in there. While we were sitting next to each other at the convention, we talked a lot, mostly Brock, talked a lot about film influences and things. And so when I had this idea for the story a little while later, I thought it would be something that'd be real cool for us to work on together. But I do want to say, like, people ask me all the time, we want to get into comics and want to be writing and things like that. Like, Brock used to be a musician, you know, he had a band. If you asked musicians or film people or whatever and told them every weekend somewhere in America there's a convention where you can meet other people in your field and publishers and press and whatever, it will blow their minds. They're like, it's that accessible, really? And so, like, I always encourage people to go to conventions. You never know what's going to happen at a convention. And had we not ended up at this convention together, randomly sitting next to each other, we would not have written this book. We wouldn't be on the show. We wouldn't have done all the projects that have come after that. We wouldn't have done the crazy tank video that we did together for Bad Idea. Like, none of that stuff happens, you know? So, and invariably, you know, Brock and I have traveled and done a lot of shows together over the years since we've been fun. Something always happens at a convention that leads to something else, you know?
Yeah.
It's not even like you're trying to look for it or you're trying to make it happen. You know, a lot of people talk about, you know, BarCon, you know, don't go into the bars and try to hit up editors or whatever. It's just conversations you have and they lead to other things. And it's just a great way to get out there and meet like-minded people. And you never know what's going to shake loose, you know?
Definitely. I recently did my first convention. 'Cause I've been doing this for a couple of years now. And I just, for a long time, I was a bouncer in a bar. And so it was like impossible to get off on a weekend. Right. So it was just like every time there was a local con, like I couldn't go. And so my first convention, I actually got a press pass to Planet Con. And so, like, dude, I went all out. I bought like wireless mics and I had like a fucking studio in my backpack and I got to interview some awesome people. And yeah, I got to meet a lot of people, but what was crazy is I had a Blake's Buzz hoodie on, right? And like I got to meet Kevin Eastman, and Kevin Eastman was like, dude, that hoodie's awesome. And I was like, it's my show. I was like, oh, that's so cool. And then, but like, now I wasn't like widely noticed, right? But there were a few people that were like, Blake's Buzz. And I was like, that's fucking insane, right? It's just like, you know, I'm pressed. I'm not a comic writer or an artist or anything. You know, I'm just a nerd with a microphone. And like, it was crazy to get that like validation that not only like con passersby, but like some of the people like Jimmy Palmiotti has followed me for a while, and it's not like we talk a lot, but like he saw me and he was like, oh, and I was like, oh, fuck you, dude, what? That's crazy, you know? And I was just like, made me feel like a rock star. But what was cool is it just like, you know, none of my friends read comics, which is part of why this is so special to me, because this is like one of the ways I get to nerd out, right? The people I've met online and then doing the show and getting to talk to you guys and stuff. But like being with people, like, you know, physically around people, waiting in line for autographs, and like everybody's like showing each other like, oh, I bought this, I bought that, you know, and like it was such a cool experience. And yeah, like after that I was hooked. I was like, oh my God, I just want to do this all the time. I want to travel. I want to go everywhere and go to all the cons. And it was great. And I can't I can't imagine like being a creator too. Like I get that it can get tiring and stuff as well, you know, like they're long weekends and it can become arduous, but you know, I like hearing stories like that, you know, like you guys randomly were at a table together and then hit it off. And then, you know, like you said, what if that didn't happen? And what if the world didn't get Savage Squad 6? You know, like the world's shitty enough. We need
I don't want to live
guys.
in that world.
I don't either.
I
Fuck
don't
that
wanna live
place,
in that
man.
world. It's a weird little traveling neighborhood that
Yeah.
like you do, and then as you, the more you attend, the more people you see that you know from that neighborhood, and that neighborhood's always moving, but you know, you might not see those people anywhere else too. So it's also that cool place where you're reconnecting with people that you know don't see anywhere else, that you're like, hey, what's going on, and hanging out. And then like he said, if you use it as a very organic kind of thing where you're just like, go have a good time, be cool, be nice to everybody, then there's always something cool that comes out of it. You know, don't go in there like searching for something, and something will find you.
Yeah, totally. The only thing I was worried about, I spent so much fucking money. Oh my, I remember the first day, like walking in, because I got there early enough. And so, I like walk up and like David Mack, Jimmy Palmiotti, Garth Ennis, like they were all right next to each other and the lines hadn't started building yet. Right. And so I like hopped in and then I was like, oh yeah, like Jimmy, do a remark for me. David, do a remark for me. I was like, well, I've been here 5 minutes, spent $120. I was like, we can't do, like, we need to chill, Blake. Like, we haven't even had lunch yet.
You definitely have to bracket yourself. Yeah.
It was very much like I was like, there's shiny things everywhere. But it was cool, man. There's like for real, nothing like it. It's such a blast. And I've heard so many similar stories about how you guys find each other at these cons and build these really great relationships and become friends. And that's what makes this book and other books similar to it so special, because like there is a chemistry with you guys, and that chemistry comes off on the page and you feel it, right? As a reader, as a comic nerd, and it makes the book a little bit more special, right? There's just like, this isn't a book where you would think that there's a lot of heart and charm, right? But there is, like, you can feel that interconnectivity between the creators in this book, and you can tell that you guys are having so much fun with it. And that's you know hyper, it's hyper violent, and it's gory and full of bad language and you know, just grit to the max. But like I said, there's that undercoating, right? That smoothness of you guys just like being in sync and working well together. What is your process like when you guys mentioned you were like, what if we do this? What if we do that? Like when you guys start writing and you're not together, right? Like, do you guys like pass the pages back and forth and edit them, or like how do you guys like script it out?
So I would say that by the time we got done, like with our hangout session, we had it pretty locked down.
Oh, wow.
Like it wasn't like a rough outline. Like it was beat for beat, lines of dialogue. Like it was tight, you know? So at that point, we just kind of started picking scenes, more so than like handing off characters one to the other, which, you know, I've done in other co-writing situations. In this book, everybody's always on the page at the same time, so you can't really do that. But you know, we would just write scenes or sequences, and when you got to a natural stopping point, you know, send your pages to the other person, and they can pick up from there, read what you've done, and then pick up from there, and then send back to you. And you know, it didn't always work out to be a perfect 50-50, you know, sometimes it's 60-40, sometimes it's 40-60 the other way. But it's just about finding those break points and really reading the pages, and then right before you write yours. And I think that's the thing that I found to be really cool about the book, because Brock and I, we're similar in a lot of ways, but we're really different, I think, in terms of writing and the way we come at it story and the strengths that we have. You know, like everybody has holes in their game and things that I'm not that great at, he's amazing at. And so what I thought was really cool is like when I sit down to read the first issue, because we're going to send it to the printer and we're looking at lettering, it doesn't read like two people wrote it. Like you can't tell. Like it seems like one person wrote this thing. You cannot. I don't even remember reading it. Hand to God, I don't remember which pages I wrote, which ones I didn't.
Same.
They all feel exactly the same, you know. And so that I think is really cool.
It's like a rom-com. Like you don't know where you end and Brock begins. It's
No.
beautiful. It's just beautiful.
Really and truly. Yeah. There was a ton of homework that went into it. When we started doing the whole thing and we were creating this map, like Rob is very much all about the big picture of the story and how the pieces are going to fit together. And, you know, he knows the end and the beginning. And then you can do anything you want to, and then he's going to take those pieces and make them fit. So what we would do is we would actually write all the bigger scenes on note cards so that we could sort of move them around and figure out where they went. And I learned a ton about just writing in general that 7 days with him, where I was just like, nah, and then like it explodes, you know, and he was like, yes, it explodes, but why does it explode? You know, and we would figure it out. So he's right. By the time we got to where we were like walking away from that 7 days and we had to write the issue, it was just about who can write their part until the wheels fall off. Then you hand it off to the other person. And like he said, when it all was done at the end, neither one of us could tell you who wrote what individual thing because it was such a collaborative process getting through it. The most collaborative book I think I've ever worked on, where I was just like, this doesn't exist without the two of us, you know? And then Daltz comes in, and then, you know, Micah and Geraldo come in, and they're adding their stuff to it. So it's this weird, super cool stew of creatives like making this thing that is, you know, 80s and 90s action horror the way you kind of remember it, but like with our take on it.
Nice. Now, how did you guys come across? I think this is my first go around with Daltz. Like, did you guys pick him, or did you kind of like audition some artists? Like, how did you guys go about finding your art team?
Do you want to go back? Yeah, because it was your connection, right? Through Magenta. Yeah.
It was through Magenta.
Oh.
Yeah. Magenta King. We asked him. Me and Rob were both talking. We were like, let's do the auditions. Let's get people to do it. And Magenta King said, I've got a studio mate. I think he's really good. You want to check his stuff out. And he sent it over. And we were like, we really both loved the stuff right off the bat. We were like, could you do a couple of designs? And he just right off the bat knocked him out of the park. We didn't audition anybody else.
Nice.
And we felt like that Daltz, in addition to being really good and loving his designs, had a very good look for a Dark Horse book. You know, like a very indie kind of look. And that's my original background in comics. I think people know me mostly probably from writing DC stuff, you know, but I started out working in the mailroom at Top Shelf and kind of went up through the industry over there.
Oh, wow.
With black and white indie comics. So I love that kind of material. And Daltz really had a style that we felt like when you know, there's a Dark Horse logo on a book, there's a certain aesthetic to it, you know, that I've always loved. And we felt like Daltz really fit that aesthetic really well, you know.
Yeah, it means something to have that Dark Horse back. I love I mean, I love all indie comics, and I love Big Two stuff too. Like I said, I love DC stuff. And your Hawkman run was amazing. Even though I called it Hawkeye when I first tweeted it out, when I was like, I'm loving this Robert Venditti Hawkeye run, and someone was like, dude, it's Hawkman, and I was like, fuck.
Fake fan, bro. Fake fan.
I don't pay that $8 on Twitter anymore, so I can't edit it. I had to delete it and repost it real quick. But yeah, you know, Dark Horse, it has a good vibe, right? It's just like you always know you're gonna get into some like great comic book weirdness that's just like a little bit magic that you don't really find a lot in the scene. And I love that. It seems like you know right now with indie comics being weird, you know, and kind of a rocky terrain, right? I'm glad like Dark Horse is still pumping out the jams and being strong. And now I'm sure like if you guys had things to say, you wouldn't be like, well, Blake, Dark Horse kind of shit the bed on this one thing, but you know, like but I feel like, you know, a lot of people, you know, like when the mic goes off, like people tell me stuff sometimes that I really would love to talk and write about, right? To get like that hot goss out there, but then no one would talk to me anymore.
Cool.
But no one ever has anything bad to really say about Dark Horse. Typically, you know, everybody seems to be like, it's like a happy home for everybody. And I know Brock's been there for a little bit. Like, you know, Jenny Zero was really cool to me. And, you know, like, that was like a big interview early on in my podcasting career, even before Blake's Buzz was a thing. And one of the first times like a creator reached out and was like, "Hey, we'd love to come on your show." And I was like, "Why?" Like, what do you know who we are? And so it was just like that was a cool deal. And that was, and then of course like Hellboy and everything else that Dark Horse does. And now they're doing the manga. Like I love you're Brock.
That's Hellboy. See that Hellboy right there?
Yeah. You have the coolest shit. Like I have some cool shit, but you have like a lot of cool shit.
I have the cool.
Yeah, you haven't seen it all, man. He's got so much stuff like over here behind the camera.
It's nutty. There's like it's nutty how much stuff there is. Yeah. But I think speaking to that, like you can say anything like because of course on a podcast you're never gonna talk shit. On any kind of review thing, you're never gonna talk shit. But like you said, I had a previous book with Dark Horse, so that's it right there, right? You wouldn't come back. Like Dark Horse is they're awesome, man. They're really and truly great. Not only are they this iconic publisher, but they continue to be amazing to work with. And when I talked to Rob, he was like, that was our first choice. He was like, shit, yeah, man, we should aim for Dark Horse. So it was like, that's where we were going from the good to go. Just like Daltz, there was like no second. There was no runner up. We were just like, we want Dark Horse. That's our choice. Let's see if we can get it. And they came through.
Very cool. Shout out to David Hazan, writer of Nottingham, upcoming Death Drop Dragon Assassins coming soon.
He did a Nottingham story with Andrea Muti.
Yeah, he did.
I did a World War II book based on an uncle of mine who was killed during D-Day, and Andrea drew it. And it was my first time working with him. And so I want to say it was a free comic book day book, and I saw Andrea's art on the cover. And so I picked it up. I didn't really know Nottingham or no Mad Cave or whatever, but it was Andrea, and I love the issue. It was great.
Yeah.
So, hey, David.
Yeah, that was cool. And then shout out to John Westoff. Thanks for tuning in. Always appreciate our viewers. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Yeah, Andrea is awesome. He was on the show not long ago, and he fucking drew me. He sketched me while we were talking, because I was talking about like the power of reading, and we were all talking about like it's because it's not just in comics, but it's just kind of a bummer that a lot of people don't read as much anymore, right? And they're like, they watch a lot of stuff or read, pop articles online and stuff. And it's just like, like the reading as a hobby is slowing down a little bit. And we were talking about how like that makes us sad. And I was like, man, there's nothing like it though. Like I love a good movie. I love it. We're in a great age of like streaming television series or streaming series and stuff now, right? And there's so much to get lost in, but like that idea of like reading something and like seeing it and hearing it in your mind, and then even if it's a comic and you're like, you see the art, but it's in between the panels, you're building you're building the motions in your mind, and then like making it fluid from like point A to point B, and it's just like a magical experience. But yeah, he drew me in a hat, and it said instead of Blake's Buzz, he put Blake Reads on the hat. And I didn't know how to ask him, so I didn't, but I was like, I wanted to be like, will you mail that to me? But I was like, I don't want to be like needy. But yeah, that was like really, really cool. He's got a cool book coming out from Top Owl. He's so nice. Yeah. His art is so violent and crazy. And it's funny, like all these horror guys, and even you two, like this book is violent and mean. But when you talk to you guys and you're just like smiling, having a good time, and it's just like I've yet to like talk to like I've yet to meet like a brooding comic book writer, where they're just like everything is dark and so are my stories.
Let me tell you about Brock's friend Jonas. I'm kidding. Jonas is great. He's awesome. But for me, like this, I would say is the closest thing to violence and horror that I've ever done.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, there is definitely violence in it, but I don't feel like it's gratuitous, like I feel like it all has a point, and there's
it has a purpose
behind all of it, you know what I mean? And so but there's definitely working with Brock, he specializes in a lot of that kind of material, and so working with him, really learning how to communicate that kind of stuff and deal with it on the page and stuff, that's a lot of his strengths and his influences coming into my writing, because working on Superman or Green Lantern or whatever, you don't really get into those kinds of things.
So. Must be hard writing Superman and Green Lantern. I feel you.
I mean,
I
it's
feel you,
not
Robert.
bad, you know, I mean, it pays the bills.
I think you put the feels in David, Robert. You got him. I'm glad David was having a rough day, so I'm glad Robert Venditti came on and because it's when I tell David and I talk a lot. When I tell David he's a great writer and I respect him, he's like, Blake, you're so sweet, you're a nice guy. But Robert Venditti drops in and he's like, oh, I picked up this random issue and it like blew me away. Like, yeah, that's way better than a
We're
Blake's
all
Buzz.
just people, man. You know what I mean? we all nobody's as hard on each other, as hard on us as we are to ourselves. You know what I mean? And it ain't math. You know, like it's not. You're never gonna get it right. There is no right. Like it's art. You know, like you might think I'm a great writer, and Brock might think I'm a terrible writer, and you're both right because it's art. So, I don't know. Just I try to focus on the absolute miracle that I'm able to do it at all. And I remember the first time I wrote my first script, I remember saying to myself, you know, if I'm going to put this out there, nobody's ever going to read it, you know, but if I put something out there one time with my name on it, I'll go dig ditches for the rest of my life, you know, and I'll be able to say that I did it. Like I did that thing that I was able to do since I was in elementary school, you know? And so the fact that I'm able to do this to this day and, you know, however many years later and work on Superman or Green Lantern or work with really good friends. I mean, this is just like, you know, hanging out with your work friend, except your work is to make up stories. And for some reason, somebody mails you a check for that. Like, that's silly, you know what I mean? Like, and so it's every day's a gift. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, except to say that it's a blessed life. You know what I mean?
It is.
It like
Totally.
even me. I recently I felt like I was stuck in a shit job, and I had a panic attack at work, and because it was just stressful, and I'd never had a panic attack before, right? And I'm 37, so like, and I'm not the healthiest person, so I was like, I'm having a heart attack because my family has like the worst genes. Like my mom's got bad joints and bad backs. My dad has a bad back and bad hearts, and like it's just like I'm gonna have a wonderful time aging. But I was like, this is it.
I'm glad able to come on the show now.
Before it's too late.
Like I'm glad we snuck it in the window. You know what I mean? Woo!
Yeah, you made it. You made it, Robert.
I mean, I'm over here like, yeah.
I know I was like, you're double. I was like,
you're really what an unhealthy person you are, Blake.
But I quit this. They wouldn't let me leave. I was like, we're working from home, and I was like, I can't work today. And they were like, you can't just leave. Like they just updated the SOPs and and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I can't leave.
You were working from home, and they were like, you can't leave.
Yeah, and they made me talk to like
Blake.
my new manager.
That's
Blake,
wild.
you just gotta turn the monitor off.
Yeah. Well,
I worked for. Blake, were you on house arrest?
Yeah. I worked for a very niche
You're
call
making
center.
license plates.
Yeah. Selling fake IDs online. But yeah, they were like, you can't just leave. And I was like, what? And so I'm like, I started crying, and I was like, and I'm not a man who's like, I can't cry, but I was just like, when you're doing customer service and like in between you're like, hi, this is Blake, how can I help you? And then you hang up the phone and you're like,
Oh my God.
Yeah, this is my life
They
now.
won't let me leave.
They're like, where are you? I'm at home.
So they made me talk to my new boss, and my new boss. She's like, I've been sick all day too, but luckily we work from home and I can handle it. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, I'm just a huge piece of shit. And so
you're like, I'm having a heart attack and you have a cold.
Yeah. So they were like, Blake, take 15 minutes, and I took 15 minutes, and I was like talking to my family, and I was like, I don't think I can do this anymore. Like I was breaking down, and I was like, so I went in, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. Long story short, I quit my job. I was unemployed for about 3 months. I had enough savings, and I cashed out a very pitiful 401k that I didn't have much in it, but it bought me like another month of unemployment. Long story short, I now do. I'm a publicist for Invader, and I got a social media manager gig for a studio that helps indie creators, and I'm doing PR work for like freelance PR work for Kickstarter clients. And so like, if everything stays the same, people, if you're watching and have hired me, just don't fire me. If everything stays like this is my new job, and I'm making like pay your bill money in comics, and now and I'm not writing them, right, but I get to deal with the writers. I'm getting like, people are going to bring me into editorial eventually, and I'm going to get the, I'm like in the donut factory seeing how the donuts are made, basically. And it's a thing, man.
If you wanted to, you could get up and walk out right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like,
No, you can't, Mike.
Freedom.
You're
No, but like, dude, I
walking
started
out. Hang on, give me 2 seconds. I just gotta
boxes.
let my dog out.
Yeah. I started out in the mailroom packing boxes, and it was just like you, working in the donut factory, seeing how the donuts get made, and like that's invaluable because it's helped me immensely as a writer to be on that side of the industry and learn about the aspects that aren't just creative.
Yeah,
that helps me immensely, especially when I talk to editors or publishers and things over the years, that I can speak intelligently about how books get made and how they get promoted and where the money comes from and what the money gets spent on and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of people ask me about how I got my start, and I'll tell them I started out in the mailroom, and you can just see them kind of glass over, like, that's not for me. I'm an artiste or whatever. It's like, cool, I'll see you in a year, and then you can ask me the same question, because you can't not take those opportunities when they come, because you don't know what those opportunities are going to turn into. And it wasn't even like I was working in the warehouse and the whole time I was like, I just got to get my script in front of this guy. I'm just here for the scripts. I did the job, and I mean, I worked at that place for 10 years.
Wow.
So
he can still box like a motherfucker. Like, it's incredible. Like, if we have to pack for something, like, his packing ability to this day is like no joke, insane. It's like Tetris, the way he can put something together, and it's like so perfect, and you can send it anywhere and it will never be hurt. Everything's like, am I joking at all about that?
No, I still run into retailers to this day who'll be like, man, I never got a damaged book from you once. I'm like,
he knows how to pack.
I'll take that, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a good calling card to have.
Well, if you guys ever go to Kickstarter, Robert does the fulfillment, right?
I could do it.
Dude, he changed the way I send comic books out. He was like, man, you're doing it wrong. I'm going to show you. And I was like, whoa, that is the way to do it. Like, so yeah, 100%.
I wish more people would know that, because I mean, just speaking of Kickstarters, I don't back as many as I used to, because I was unemployed for a few months, but it's a bummer when you back these campaigns and you believe in it and you're excited about it, and I'm cool with paying the extra Kickstarter tax typically, right? Like, you get the bonus stuff, you get the better paperweight cardstock covers and stuff, but it's a shitty experience when you pay that extra money and you believe in this product and then they ship it real shitty and you're like, oh cool, I paid $15 for a single issue and it's dented. Like, where's that collectible nature? Anyway, I won't talk shit.
No, everybody forgets about pack and ship. It's one of the hardest parts of the job, and nobody thinks about it.
Yeah.
Right? But also, like, Amazon's the same way. Like, I ordered a book from Amazon the other day, and it came in a box with like one of those plastic inflatable air things.
Just one, yeah.
But it's like, I'd rather it had none, because with the one in there, you're like, that dude knew the shit was there to keep the book safe. And you just put one in there to be like, I could have kept your book safe, but that's not what I'm going to do today.
Yeah.
You throw it in the middle. It's like,
it's cautionary tale for like Kickstarter people.
Yeah.
And really and truly, if you're watching this and you're doing a Kickstarter, just remember that like fulfillment is part of the damn game. Like, getting that book to a good condition.
Don't skip on shipping.
Yeah.
And
don't skip on lettering. Don't skip on shipping. That's if we leave anything with you guys, that is it.
Robert's like, we're not even doing a Kickstarter comic. Why are we talking about that?
Maybe I will.
It is so.
I don't know.
That's so inspiring, though, man.
Unpacked nice.
We have an awesome idea for a Kickstarter comic.
Do.
We're not going to say it, but it's the craziest shit ever, and the only way to pull it off really is with a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
But it is like the coolest. We've never seen it done before.
Ooh.
It's super weird, and we're not saying we're never going to do it, because I don't know. We actually did some little drawings of like
Put a
how it
mock-up
would work.
of it.
Yeah, it's more of a design thing than anything, but it's pretty badass. Yeah. So
awesome.
yeah, we are thinking about it. We do need to know.
Well,
Rob is going to tell me how to pack them.
It's not unheard of anymore, right? I mean, look at Boom. Like Boom did the Expanse campaign and raised over $1 million. Boom has another book. Like, so
Yeah.
Boom's doing a lot of Kickstarters. Image has been out there. You know, it's starting to be a normal deal. And you know, as I mentioned, with the tumultuous experience of indie comics right now, a lot of people are going to Kickstarter. Kickstarter is a beautiful thing, excuse me, but it's almost too it's oversaturated right now, and it's not. I don't think it's a bad thing, because it's cool that like anybody who wants to make a book can make it, but it's a bummer that like all of us, right? Anybody dealing in comics is like the new villain. It's not predatory contracts anymore, right? Those are still a thing, but like it's our new villain is the algorithm, and these various algorithms on various sites, and the fight to be seen. And it's crazy. It's good for people like me, because you guys have to deal with my bullshit to like come on. You have to talk to people like me and get the word out, and it helps, right? But it's so gnarly that Twitter is still a good place for comic marketing. Like if I'm dealing with like Kickstarter PR right now, right? And it's still the number one Kickstarter like funding metric is your emails from like previous campaigns and sending out those email blasts. But like number 3 is still Twitter. So Twitter is still a good place to market, even though it's like a mess and it's weird, and everybody, I love it, because like Twitter's been very good to me. Like a lot of where I am right now and me doing interviews with comic studs like you guys is because of Twitter, and the networking I've done because of Twitter, the fucking jobs I've just got hired for because of Twitter. And so like, I'm one of those people where like, I don't want it to go away. Like, I'm not one of those people like, let it burn, let the snake eat itself. Like, like blast that fucking musk rocket into the sky and watch it explode. Like, I get it. I get the frustrations, but I don't, it's a safe place for me. Like it was when this all started, when I had 400 followers and I would do one tweet reviews, and it was such a struggle to get like enough info about the comic and then tag all the creators. And I would do these one tweet reviews. And that's how I started building an audience, right? And then people started retweeting me, and comic creators would be like, oh wow, you're just like out here talking about our comics, like thank you so much. And that was before I had a platform or anything. So like a lot of my success, I mean, yeah, a lot of it's due to just me being fucking awesome on a mic and excited and funny, and I'm a great person, I get it, right? Like
Sure.
I'm just like a big
it's nice to have you on the show.
But yeah, but it's
I can't believe we got him, Rob.
I know, man. I'm fucking busy these days.
Yeah, I've been sending emails, man.
Yeah, I've been sending you emails, Brock. I even asked Robert today. I was like, Brock knows, right? Like,
that's not an email.
I thought he did, and then he texted me. And he's like, "Did that guy ever send us a link?" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, he sent it like a while ago."
No, but yeah, well, the word you guys are using is emails, but what you're talking about is social media DMs, which is for sex and shit. So like, I'm not hitting those up. You know what I'm saying? So I went back through my emails looking for Blake, who I have as my email, and I was like, he has not sent me a link. And you're like, Rob's like, dude, check your DMs. I was like, all right. So let's not pretend like that I didn't check my fucking emails. I've been checking them every 5
fucking
minutes.
semantics. Oh my god.
That fucking semantics is right.
Yes.
Still sliding in my emails.
I was like, Instagram yelled at me or when I posted the story and tagged you guys in it today. And Instagram was like, Robert Venditti doesn't allow people to tag him or message. I was like, sorry, Robert.
Oh, well, no, this is for real. So this is a real thing. And this is why I'm not on Facebook too. I was on Facebook for like 8 minutes one time. And people just
record setting
their ideas over DMs or whatever,
oh, yeah.
like messaging. And I asked somebody, I was like, how do I stop people from just messaging me? Because legally, I can't just have people telling me their ideas for what they want to do with Green Lantern, and they were like, "You can't. That's Facebook's whole thing." And I was like, "Delete."
That's
That
it.
was the end of it, you know.
Done.
So they're like, you can't just DM me on Twitter. Like, you have to approach me first and tell me what you want to talk about, and then I have to follow you, and then you can DM me, right?
Yeah.
So there's a buffer there, and that's as a professional, I think you need that, right? Because it's a legal issue, you know.
Yeah. So, but if you ever went back to Green Lantern, I've got this killer. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I couldn't even talk. I don't even know enough about. I mean, I know a lot about Green Lantern, but like this motherfucker, ladies and gentlemen, followed the Jeff Johns saga. Like it reminded me of like Annie Nocenti raising her hand at Marvel, being like, "Yeah, I'll write Daredevil after Frank Miller. Like, fuck it. Like, what do I got to lose, right?" And Robert did that with Jeff. Like Jeff Johns did this beautiful cosmic tapestry orchestra, which just moved me and blew me away. And then Robert came on, and now I'd read Exo Man of War, right? And so I was like, okay, like those cosmic sci-fi vibes. I was like, bring it, baby, like do it. And you had some real big crossover, like you did the New Gods crossover and stuff, and like
I mean, they threw me right into it. Like, we launched with a crossover. At the time I got the Green Lantern job, I think I'd probably written 5 comic books in my life.
Wow.
You know? And they were like, "We're gonna start you with a 5-book crossover or whatever." And I was like, well, "All right, man, that's pretty wild." You know, and so like, but. And in those early Green Lantern issues, like, I don't love them. I don't think they're great or whatever, but I don't look back on them and have any hard feelings about it, because I think if you read my Green Lantern run, which started with New 52 Green Lantern number 21 and went all the way through Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps number 50 and Rebirth, it was like 87 issues.
Yeah.
I think if you read that whole run from end to end, you see in real time a person learning how to write monthly comic books, learning the Green Lantern mythology, learning how to write within the DC universe. And I'm intensely proud of the stuff I did at Hal Jordan and Green Lantern Corps. I don't get there without the stuff I did on Green Lantern. So did I come in and hit the ground running and write, pick up right where Jeff Johns left off? Like, no, but there were a lot of people who still, I think, probably hate my guts to this day and are somewhere right now watching this saying he's the worst Green Lantern I ever read in my life.
Yeah, fuck him.
For me, like, it's a couple things. On the one hand, I get what they're saying. Like, they're paying the same $3.99 for my comic as they are for Jeff Johns, and they want the same quality, and that's totally fair. But from the other side, the reason why I never took it personally is because it just seemed kind of absurd that anybody would expect me to write as well as Jeff Johns coming right out of the gate. He's like chief creative officer of DC Comics.
Yeah.
He invented all this Green Lantern mythology. And so I always liken it to, it's like if you have a first day on the job and you're hired to replace like the 30-year veteran who just retired. And like your first day on the job, somebody leans over your cubicle and goes, "You suck." It's like, I mean, damn, like, I just got here, you know.
Give me a second, man.
Nobody's trying to
10
say I
minutes ago.
still as
I
good
haven't
as
even
the other
unpacked
guy
my
did,
cubicle
but in
yet.
30 years I might. I don't know, you know. And so I never really let it bother me too much because I felt like I was taking chances and putting myself out there and taking risks, and that's the only way you're going to grow as a writer. And so there's so many things in my career that would not have happened had I not come in after Jeff Johns on that suicide run of picking up that Green Lantern book. But yeah, I don't have any regrets about it at all. You know?
That's awesome. Speaking of coming in at weird times, David Azan brings up a Naked Blake joke, and I always like to tell this story because it's fun. David lives in Australia, so he got his time zones confused one time, and so I'm coming out. I just took a shower. I come in my room, and like I'm not wearing clothes, right?
Kind of
like,
feels like something you should say in your DMs.
Yeah.
But,
Can you DM me that?
That's what it's. He mentioned this when we were talking about the sexy DMs. So I hop in and I was I needed to upload some promo art to StreamYard, and so I'm like, I'm like, drop my robe, sit down. I'm like, I hit the button to hop into StreamYard and upload this JPEG, right, so that we can showcase it later. I had an hour before the show, right? Is that 1 hour before anybody should be anywhere in the live stream place, and I fucking like hit the button to upload it, and you just like, I'm like, nothing, like leaning over the computer, and David is on sitting in the green room, like, and I was like, fuck, and I like hit the button and like exited it out real quick. And then David messaged me and I was like, he saw something.
I like that you're still telling the story like you weren't like, shit, David's in there. Oh,
yeah.
Close the window.
Yeah. Oh, did I just come out of a hot shower?
Oopsie.
Everything's all looking.
You're like, it was an hour and a half ahead of time, and who knew David was in there? Although I did have access and I could see that. Now I'm wearing my robe, but when I sit down, I open it up and I'm like, boop.
But yeah, David was like, are we going live? I was like, yeah, in an hour. I was like, did you just see my ass? And he was like, what? No. And I was like, fuck, thank God. And if David told me, he was like, you probably shouldn't tell this story. And I've told this story so many times.
Also, on the other side of things,
on this video right now knows you absolutely saw it. So we appreciate you. We appreciate you acting like you didn't. For Blake's sake, everybody here knows.
Yeah.
David's pulling up screenshots that he took and deleting them right now. Fuck, they know.
And that's how the OnlyFans started.
That's how the Blake's Buzz OnlyFans started.
I used to joke because there's so many weird OnlyFans stuff on there, and I made because I used to get real drunk on live streams sometimes, and I don't usually do that anymore. I usually just have a drink and kind of like loosen it up. And actually, I haven't drank for a few weeks because I've been unemployed. I got paid, right? So
good for you, though.
Yeah. I mean, was it though? It wasn't great.
It is.
But I used to get lit, and I would. Oh man, it would get rough sometimes, and so yeah, anyways, that's
Savage Squad 6.
Savage Squad 6 is
have you heard of it?
I used to say that I was going to start OnlyFans where I eat hot dogs naked and watch Attack on Titan. Now of that whole sentence that I just said, the things that you could follow up with, right? Several people were like, how could you eat hot dogs and watch that show? It's disgusting. And I was like, that's your problem?
That's it.
That's like the whole weenie Oli. That's like the whole weenie Oli talk.
No,
like,
good night.
You're like, Brock's like, I'm done. My 2 drinks are empty.
I am down to, you guys have got me on my last 5 minutes right here.
But the weenie Oli talk, so many of Cole and I's friends were like, oh my God, like that would destroy me. I'm like over 30 now. I can't eat stuff like that. And I'm like, it's hot dogs and pasta. I was like, you never had like hot dogs in your mac and cheese? And then people were like, what? No. Oh, well, you're missing out, Robert.
I never had mac and cheese in my whole life until I can remember exactly how old I was. I was 27 the first time I ever had mac and cheese. Yep.
Where are you from?
My family's Italian. We ate like real macaroni.
So is my mother's maiden name is Ragusa.
His family does make some amazing food. Like it is like incredible food. The first time he ever made me chicken parm, I was like, man, I've had chicken parm before. And he was like, it was that first time we hung out, that 7 days. I went to see him and I was hanging out at his place and he's like, I'll make you chicken parm. He made a chicken parm that like to this day, and like we're acting like this was like last week or something, but this has been almost 10 years. So it's like, but to this day, when I go there, I'm like, is it chicken parm night? Are we having chicken parm? This is the most incredible chicken parm I've ever had. So
no, good chicken parm is a magical thing. That's one of I've been very blessed in my family where like you had to learn. You were disrespected in my family if you didn't at least know how to cook some things, right? And so my dad's family is like kind of Irish and Southern, so like I can make really good biscuits and gravy and stuff. But my mom's side is very Italian. The rumor is my grandpa, my mom's father, died shortly after she was born, so like she didn't really get to know him, and I never got to meet him, obviously. But supposedly, like the family jokes around about it, but never denies it that like he was in the business, right? Like he was supposedly like had some mafia ties, and it's when you talk about that and the family's like, oh yeah, well, yeah. But no one's ever like, that's not true. Like they're always just like, so like I was this close. Yeah, I was this close to being in the family business, but no, I could have had some crazy stories to tell, but no, but yeah, it's so we all learned to cook, and so like my sister and I, like we're pretty good in the kitchen, and my about to be brother-in-law is a chef, and like so it's just like I'm very lucky, like we don't have one of those families where like people come over and they're like, do we have to eat this? Like it's like when people come over for dinner, they get excited. So I get that, man. Like good chicken parm, good pasta, making the homemade raviolis it's a pain in the ass, but it's a magical experience once you get it done and on the plate, right? And just good sauce, just knowing how to make good sauce, like red sauce or white sauce or vodka sauce or whatever you do, like, you know, it's huge. We get spoiled. We get spoiled. But yeah, it's good. It's good to, well, maybe it's not good because my fucking arteries are clogged and I'm overweight,
Sure.
but and you know, like Robert said, I'm going to die soon. So it's a good thing we did the show tonight.
I didn't say you would. I said you might. And that's only because you said you might.
Yeah.
So I
should lead us into it.
I did. I let into it. It's my family's fault. Everybody's, you know, everybody's got like bad heart. Like, you know,
I think everybody here probably has a little bit of something in that family though too, where you're like, it could be,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, it's a risk. It's a
risk.
It's always a risk. Show, guys. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm almost done because I know you guys don't smoke, but I'm about to nick the fuck out. So you got 3 minutes. I'm not shitting you. Not being an asshole, but just gonna be gone in 3 minutes.
That's funny because my new job's stressing me the fuck out.
Oh no, you're smoking inside?
I'm in a garage. This ain't insulated, baby. It just goes away. It just goes away. This is yeah.
I don't know if it goes away, Blake, but I do love that you're doing it. I don't think that's true, but I do love that you're smoking inside. That's fantastic. It's decadent.
I have to quit tomorrow. Like I broke down and
this is like doing like a radio show in the 80s.
Yeah, I'm like fucking Howard Stern. You guys don't see the plate of cocaine sitting over here.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not at that PR level yet. I'm not doing cocaine money anymore. Well, actually, that's a lie. I was a bouncer for a long time and did a lot of cocaine when I didn't have money. But you just quit paying your student loans and you can do all the cocaine you want to do.
Blake, you got to bring it back to Savage Squad 6.
Yeah, sorry. There's this really great comic book out called Savage. I'm scared to talk about it because Brock sent me a very intense message about what I was allowed to say and not talk about.
Brock is a real stickler for the rules. I'll talk about it. Here's
let's go.
Go for it.
It's about a team of special forces women set in the near future who go into Chernobyl, which is like the deadliest place on the planet. And they go in there to get nuclear material so then they can bomb to use it against this group of people called the Scourge, who are like wiping out pretty much all of humanity. And while they're on this mission, they encounter something that they weren't expecting, and it becomes a story about them more trying to escape with their lives than completing the mission. How'd that do, Brock? That's the first time I've ever done that.
That was fantastic.
Good.
That's an elevator pitch, man. That's an elevator pitch.
Yeah.
And
you know what I really like?
Lots of action, lots of gunfights. I would say it's kind of horror in some ways.
A little spooky, yeah.
A lot of heart, though. You know, the camaraderie between the women on the team. We see the story a lot through the point of view character of someone who's new to the squad, but you see the camaraderie of how they all relate to each other and the stories that they have and all the stuff they've been through together. So when things go bad, you feel the losses. So yeah, I'm super proud of it. I had a great time working on it. And,
you should be.
I think it's out. I think FOC is June 5th.
Yeah. I remember we talked about that. That's why we did the show now.
June 28th, I believe. Yeah.
So fucking get out there and pre-order it, you lazy fucks.
Pre-order it, you lazy fucks.
Why do we have to tell people to pre-order comics? It's so weird. Like, you think people would know. People get so mad. They'll be like, my shop sold out. I didn't get it. Now it's on eBay I gotta pay $20 for this issue. Well, you wouldn't have to if you just told your shop to pre-order it. Diamond has these great little codes. You can just give them the code and pre-order it, get it in your pull list.
I don't know our Diamond code. I guess I should. What kind of indicator am I? You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you just went to your local comic book store and just asked or called them and just said, order me this Savage Squad 6.
There's not many Savage Squad 6 books out there. They'll figure it out.
And it is a slightly new, like, I mean, like we all grew up going to like, you know, a grocery store, a spinner rack,
Yeah.
and then you graduate to the comic book store, and even that you go in and you're shopping for comics like you're shopping for VHS. They're like on the rack. So it is kind of a new deal where like before video stores, they pre-ordered for you to get the VHS or whatever. And comic book stores do it to an extent, but like as a reader, you can really like help out comic book stores and the creators and yourself just by like looking through that previews book and finding those books that look great to you and then asking your comic book store for it, because who does that hurt? Everybody wins in that situation.
What are you saying? Who does that hurt? Everybody. Yeah. Everybody gets hurt when you pre-order comics.
No, everybody wins in that situation. So yeah,
definitely.
Please pre-order.
And it's worth a pre-order. Like you want this on your pool. One of the things that you guys have a decent sized cast of characters, and a lot of them are on screen like simultaneously at a lot of times. And the balance in this book is really good. I feel like each character gets enough story to where like if somebody goes missing, maybe like we're like, oh bummer, like that sniper was cool. And you know, like, and what's the fucking little lesson? No shot is missed.
Yeah, no shot wasted.
No shot wasted if it gets you on your target. I was like, fuck, that's smart. Who wrote that? Who did it?
I think that was Brock.
I don't know who wrote that. I will say this, going back and rereading it, I was like, that's completely fucking made up. That's not based on an actual sniper thing.
Neither Brock nor I are snipers. So
no military background whatsoever. Because when I was reading through it, it's like I was just proofing it and checking it, and I was like, where we did this? I was like, it's super cool, and I was like, and so I looked it up to see. I was like, where do we get that from? Fucking made it up.
Nice.
Well, it seems like it could be real. It feels like if that was something you were doing and you take that first shot and you miss it, then that's going to allow you to course correct. And maybe that's from one of us shooting BB guns when we were a kid. I don't know. Like
I didn't have a BB gun.
As someone who shoots a lot of shots and misses, as you both can tell after talking to me for an hour, I appreciated it. Like it's just. I like as a writer, I wish I could write something like that. I mean, I'm a decent writer. I got pull quotes on a bunch of books, and one of them's a fucking Dark Horse book. And like, I write press releases and stuff now for publishers. Like, I know we're interviewing me and my accomplishments. Thank you guys for having me on your show. I really appreciate it. It's very rare for comic creators to have a podcast or a press person on their show. I really like
that's
that you guys
kind of our things here at Rob's Buzz.
No, like the pacing, the balance, the structure, the tension. I nerd out on tension. David, if David's still listening, he's gonna laugh because they always joke that I always bring up my MFA, even though I dropped out of my MFA program. But I was in an MFA program, and I know, and it's a creative writing program. It wasn't like I was in an accounting program.
What school was it?
UMKC local. I actually did the reason why I'll be broke forever. I went to a private college called Avila, and I found their writing program and talked to their teachers, and they liked my writing samples and stuff. And so my undergrad was very similar to grad school. Like when I showed up to grad school and we were talking about writing workshops and stuff, a lot of people were like, this is weird, I'm uncomfortable. And I was like, I've been doing this for 4 years. Like what did you guys do in your undergrad? And so like I was very prepped and catered to like go to grad school. Unfortunately, as MFAs have a lot of opinions. People have a lot of opinions on MFA programs, right? And I did get burned out, and I did drop out. And I thought I'd be able to go back, but there's a time limit on your MFA program. And if you
time limit on my fucking time too, there. God damn
I can't believe I haven't had you on the show for a year and a half.
I know, man. I got an hour in me. That's all I got in me. And that's not anybody's fault. Not Blake's fault, not Rob's fault. That's just me. And people are like, he's an asshole. And I'm like, it's really not. Like, it's just, I'm antsy. I'm like, shit, I gotta get done with this. Savage Squad 6.
Yeah.
We're done,
great.
right?
Great.
That was it. Rob's always upset about this, but I'm like, man, I can't do more than an hour. It doesn't make any sense. What are we doing anymore? We can hang out after this and just hang out when I can actually speak about stuff. Because I'm going to say something and everybody's going to be like, man, you shouldn't have said that.
It's like you turn into a pumpkin after you turn into a pumpkin that talks shit after an hour.
Like
1 hour is my limit.
He's like he's like Dark Man. He can hold it together for a certain amount of time, and everything comes apart.
You're like, I'm like, oh no, you see my true visage. Which is just someone who spoils comic books or whatever, you know. Yeah.
Well, so there's 3 issues solicited. How many issues is this going for?
It's
4.
Yeah, it's 4 total. Yep.
Why isn't the
I didn't even know they solicited the 3rd one yet. I don't know if I saw that. Yeah.
I think 3 just got solicited.
Yeah,
I think you're right. 3 just came in.
Robert, I don't know if you're aware. You go to previewsworld.com and there's a great little website that features. Sorry,
You'll love it.
No,
it's a great website. It's so.
I think
funny.
I think it just hit though. Like the 3 did, and so 4 should be coming pretty
next
soon.
Month, probably.
Yeah, because we're still like in the middle. It's crazy because you know how the way that Blake, you know how it works too. Like in the pipeline, like you've got to get that first issue in there and that first cover, and then after that you're locked. You have to hit all the things. So we're still like the covers. They're still sending us over for approval. So 3 got approved, and we're still on 4 right now. I think right for like cover approval.
We just sent number 1 to the printer, and then number 2, like we're going over final edits right now, like design stuff, and then number 3 we have first draft lettering on, and number 4 we're receiving art on. So it's like it's like a constant treadmill of, you know, as soon as one thing's out the door, you know, 28 days later, another thing's got to go out the door. You know,
I felt really important because Dark Horse sent me an advanced release because it hasn't even gone out to reviewers yet, and they sent me a copy. And the next thing I see this email from Robert, and Robert's like, "This isn't the right one. We have to get this man the right." And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Give me that right." I was like, "Go, I'm fucking royalty." Like Robert Venditti is sticking up for me. Like we can't give this man this version of issue.
No, man, that's true. And like you don't see the behind the scenes. Like you don't see the emails that were happening after that. You will get Blake this issue before we go on.
I think they were pretty on the ball about it.
No, they were super awesome about it.
Like, yeah, no, they killed it, but it was nice. I mean, like Rob would have done that if it was like 3 months ago. Like, and he would have been like, make sure this is right. He's just a stickler for it.
You're making me sound like a jerk, man. Like I don't know. Do I? Does it make sure this is right? Is that really how I am? No.
You do make sure things are right.
But I don't do it with that kind of meanness.
No. Yeah, you're not like, make sure things are right.
How about if we, I don't know, get this right?
Yeah, this blackest day and darkest night. This lettering's got to be fucking right, ladies and gentlemen.
There it is. Meanwhile, but like the opposite of that is me. Is I'm like, I don't know. It's close. It's fine.
They'll figure it out.
I'm like that. I don't know. It will be. I said to you, I sent you a text and said, well, you know, it sucks, but we'll get you I promise we'll get you a good one after the interview.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I said. Yeah. Rob's like, no, that has to happen before the interview. He has to read it. And I was like,
if he hadn't read it before the interview, we would not have been able to not talk about it all this time. You know what I'm saying?
It would have been cocaine and MFA stories for an hour and 7 minutes. You guys would have been fun.
True. That is true. That is true.
Man, it's funny. Every time I get a big writer on my show, I talk about Blow. Like Ron, I told a cocaine story when Ron Mars was on my show, and I was like, "What am I doing?" But then other people were like, "That was so cool! You just talked to Ron Mars about cocaine." I was like, "Yeah, I planned that." It was
I'll be honest, I didn't see that one coming. You know what I mean?
Left field.
I didn't know about you coming out in the bathrobe. I didn't see that coming.
How many shows do you guys do where you get that level of realness and conversation?
Absolutely, the very first one.
Yep, absolutely. 0, never. Other than this, you're number 1.
Yeah, first one.
You gotta bring you gotta mix the real life into the clusterfuck, right?
You gotta do it.
Comics are great, man, but I mean, I don't know. I like talking. I like saying weird shit and seeing how you guys come back at it, you know? Like I like making people laugh. I like when I can make Robert and Brock laugh. I like when I can make fucking Brock fucking nick out and get all antsy and shit. Like I live for this shit.
You don't want to see that. Yeah. You don't want to see
It's a bad scene.
You notice how the dog left the room a little while ago? The dog,
She was like, fuck, he's about to freak.
the dog knows it's coming.
She was like, she's outside, like, where the fuck is he? We're supposed to be smoking.
But yeah, for real, like Savage Squad, it's a awesome comic, and everybody needs to pre-order it. And there's a big twist that like I can't talk about, and I don't want to talk about it because I hate spoilers. I hate people that spoil shit just to spoil it. It aggravates me. You know, I do not believe in that at all, unless we talk about like a comic that's like really fucking old or something, right? But I don't like that. Like I used to read all the X-Men comics, and it was like you had to read the X-Men comics like first thing in the morning on Wednesday, or people are like posting panels at like 4 o'clock in the morning showing you what's going on, or like the WandaVision show on Disney Plus. Like people were just spoiling the fuck out of it. And so like when Disney Plus first started putting out those Marvel shows, you had to wake up first thing and watch that or hide from the internet. And I'm just like, really? Like I'm sort of creative, but like there's so much to talk about in this field. Like you don't have to just spoil things to be an asshole. I remember when Last Ronin came out, and I was just
Blake,
in a thread.
Blake, God damn it.
Yeah.
I'm out. I love you. Mwah. I love you. I don't want to hear it. I gotta go smoke. I don't give a shit.
Do we smoke the same cigarettes? Is that
What do you smoke?
Cancer Bros for life.
Cancer Bros. We're both like gonna be dead in a week, and we're just like, they're like, God, it was so morbid how they held up those things to, like cheersing their own demise. Nasty bastards. I love you. Thank you. Savage Squad 6. Get it. Pre-order it. We will come back on. No shit. I love you, man. That's why we're back on this thing all the time. That's why I came back this time, because you're real and you talk about it. You do have a time limit of 1 hour with me. That's all I'm gonna do. But we would love to come back on and continue talking about it, because I think with the second issue, we're gonna have some cool stuff that I want to hear what you think about it, and like and see how we did, because second issue really, that feels pretty right, Rob. Like it's like second issue kind of establishes like what we're doing, and like you see it's the beginning of the second act if you're watching a movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well, real quick, I know we got to wrap it up, guys. Like real quick, Brock, where do we find you? Keep track of you online. Or if you guys got newsletters or anything to shout out or something like that.
Don't have newsletters or anything, but Brockton McKinney on any of the social media. I don't think there's any other Brockton McKinneys. So Facebook. I do have Facebook. Now you got me thinking I gotta delete mine, Rob, because I'm like, but I never check the DM, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, so Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that on there all the time. Not on there all the time. Never on there. People can't stand me on social media because I'm always like, I only post like the book or whatever it is. Because like you were saying, Blake, it's like people are always trying to spoil stuff. Yeah. And I love comic books and I love movies. And I don't want to have it spoiled. So I rarely go to social media. I'm on there when I'm like,
can you wrap it up? I got guests that need to smoke a cigarate, bud.
Absolutely. He did turn it back around on me. Fuck, I'm so sorry.
The tables got turned.
I really am. I am. I'm so sorry. God, let's wrap this up as quick as we can for you.
I am on social media as well, Instagram and Twitter, just at Robert Venditti. I do want to throw a little disclaimer out here and say that I'm pretty sure I didn't curse once this whole time. And so I'm going to have to repost this link and say, what is it? NSF.
Not safe for work.
Not safe for work.
But it's got nothing to do with me. I have nothing to do with any of the NSFW-ness.
But you're forever associated with us now.
Innocent bystander of all of that. So.
Hey, I'll get you a couple pre-orders at least for putting up with my bullshit. My audience does know that I read good comics, and when I get excited about something, they do believe me. So I appreciate that.
We appreciate you having us on, sincerely. Like anytime anybody wants to talk to me about anything I've done, and I never feel like I'm due for, like I'm owed that or whatever. Like it's a surprise to me every single time. So I never take it for granted. So we appreciate you reading the book and taking the time and helping us get the word out about it. And we hope people enjoy it.
Yeah, and thanks for whip cracking that PR whip, getting me the
I feel like I was not at
no,
all.
you
like,
were. You were. I mean,
I was extremely
you threatened to
professional
fire somebody, and
didn't
it was
know.
awkward. But
no, it was an honest mistake.
he was like,
If it
Rob's like,
happened to
I didn't say
anybody,
any
I
bad
just happened to
words
catch it.
unless you
know what
read
I'm
that
saying?
email. And I
You
was
see
like,
that
fucking dark horse.
scathing email. Scathing email. And Blake, I'll say this too. I came back on because you're an awesome interviewer. You genuinely love comic books, and it's just like your enthusiasm brought me back. Look at how many other interviews I do. I just don't. I told Rob that same thing, and Rob was like, I'm in. I'm going to do it. And just like coming back with Dark Horse from Jenny Zero to this, that's like proofs in the pudding. There's no talking behind the scenes or whatever. The proof is that you came back again. We will come back for issue 2 because we just genuinely dig your vibe, man. And the whole thing.
I don't know if Blake wants us back for issue 2.
No,
so
fuck yeah, I do.
Like
Shut your mouth, Robert.
Show, and I don't feel like that offer's been extended, So,
yeah, Blake's gonna be like, yeah.
Tell him the day and time we're gonna be back on his show.
It's your show. I'm the guest.
Yeah. Well, I do feel like there's so much more I have left to learn about Blake, and I'm only gonna be able to do that as a guest
coming
on
back.
Blake's show.
By coming back.
Yeah.
What if I send Blake an email tomorrow and it's like it's been blocked? I'm like, God damn it.
Never. Brock, I know you, and I love, like, we had a great time chatting last time, but yeah, like,
yes,
Robert, for real, man. Like, if you're just ever bored and want to come on a weird fucking podcast, even if you don't have anything to promote, if you're just like, Blake, I can't sleep. Are you lit up on blow? Like, you want to do a late night show or something? I'm here for you, baby. God damn it. All right.
Wild, man.
It's like Howard Stern for comics.
Yeah,
I get weird. I get weird with it.
All right. Yeah. It's cool.
No, I'm gonna make you guys commit to this. I will do an episode for every fucking issue that this drops. If you guys want to come back, I will do it. Because guess what? I need the metrics. And you guys have name.
We provide the metrics.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true either, but we'll see.
What have you wrote fucking Green Lantern?
Goddamn hour though. That's the bracket, you motherfuckers.
What?
1 hour. That's as long as we're gonna do this.
Okay, 1 hour.
1 hour. We already went over by 18 fucking minutes. I'm not doing it next time. I swear to Christ, I'm walking out.
Dude,
next time, right at an hour. I'm just saying.
You can leave, Robert.
I feel like we have witnessed in real time the attitudinal shift of him.
Yeah,
like he's not joking. Like something happened to him at that 1 hour mark, and he's gotten way more belligerent.
He got way angrier when I smoked inside. He was like, I can't fucking do that.
Yeah, you were like rubbing his face in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. All right.
No,
so,
guys,
yes, we will be
fun.
happy to come back, but for only
you're
1
doing
hour
it. I'm gonna make you. I'm gonna make you
1 hour per issue for the next.
I can't wait.
Issues.
I can't wait for Dark Horse to retweet this until their 100,000 followers
Again,
to watch this fucking
that I have
clusterfuck.
no hand in the NFS. Episode.
We'll see what happens.
I was completely professional the entire time.
Hopefully they don't listen first.
They should listen.
They should listen.
I make comics cooler.
Yeah, you do. You do. That's for sure.
It's called Blake's Buzz, not Blake's fucking sober. Give me a fucking break, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody, Brockton McKinney, Robert Venditti have been on this show. They are both astounding writers. One of them's got a little bit of an attitude problem, but that's okay. We can deal with it. We'll work with it. We work with the talent. We cater to you, baby. This was such a joy. Brock, it was so great to have you back on the show. Robert, for real, man, it was a fucking honor. I respect you so much. You probably don't think that because I talked about a whole bunch of weird shit while we were together, but that's just because, like, you're like comic dad, and I told my dad a bunch of weird shit growing up too, and he used to get mad at me about it. So, like,
hugely uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie.
I like Comic Dad. That's a good name.
Right?
Comic Dad. I don't know if that's cool though.
It is cool.
It's cool when you write Green Lantern and Superman and X-Men.
Yeah. That's hardcore Comic Dad. I dig it. Yeah.
But no, everybody, you got to pre-order Savage Squad 6. And I'm not fucking around. Pre-order it. Tell your shops you want it to be 4 issues. You need all 4 of them. And you want to get it so that when we do these future episodes, you know you're going to be ready for the weirdness. You're going to be ready. You're going to have issue 1 read and we can talk about it. And you're going to get excited about it.
Wait,
like
whatever
I
that
am.
little chat situation is that's going on, I don't even know what that is. But if anybody wants to say stuff, we'll answer on the air, whatever.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we'll do Q&As. Yeah.
I always
But it's gonna
try to
be
get people to talk in the chat.
super
They never do.
spoilery
Yeah, we'll
after
get
issue
weird.
1. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, guys, thank you so much for putting up with me. Again, so great to have you both on the show. I'm so glad to see you guys working together, and I hope the adventure continues. I hope you guys do that Kickstarter. I hope you guys get weird. I love what you're doing with Bad Idea. I love that you guys drove tanks together and like just like all the cool shit that you guys do. You comic books are lucky to have both of you, and I really hope you both know that. You're both so talented. This book is great. Pacing, structure, art, it hits all the fucking beats. And for a premiere issue that are difficult to do, it's hard to hit all the notes in a number 1 issue with 22 or so pages. And you guys fucking did it. This is a banger of a book. And I can't wait to read more of it. And I'm excited to read more of it. And I can't wait to get fucked up lettering copies of future issues and just have Robert slam his dick on the table and be like, I'm Robert Venditti and I wrote Green Lantern and you're going to send the right copies out. Dark
Every
Horse,
time I think we're going to get out.
Please don't take me off your press list. I really appreciate it. Everybody, thank you for listening. Love more, hate less, read comics. We believe it. We say it. We live by it. And I think that's it. Unless you guys have anything else left to say, I'll play the music.
That's it. Thanks, Blake.
It's Blake's Buzz Live.